What's up, YouTube, and welcome to my video of the games I picked up in September 2016. This was a pretty good month. I did some travel to Chicago and also Memphis, and if you've noticed it lately, I haven't really made a lot of videos other than my monthly pickup video. Unfortunately, my work has just been crazy lately. I've really had a backlog of ideas of things I'd like to make videos on for you guys. And really, I just ask you to stick in there. Hopefully, I'll be making some more different content soon. I kind of feel like I'm getting in a rut of just pickup videos. So I do know you guys like these. I will continue to make them. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to my new subscribers. I've noticed for some reason my subscription count took a big jump over the last month. And a lot of you haven't identified yourselves. So leave me a comment, let me know who you are, why you found me, all that kind of good stuff, and looking forward to interacting with you. I love making friends on this site, and that's one of the reasons it keeps me going. So please, again, comment, let me know what's up, how you found me, all that good stuff. So anyway, that said, let's go ahead and get started with some games, and I'm going to start off with Sega systems this month. I didn't really get a whole ton of games overall, but some of the games I got for this system, or for Sega in general, were really great this month. So let's go ahead and start off with those. I got one game for the Sega Master System this month, and this is a big one. This is one I've always wanted. This is the original Phantasy Star, and it is complete. It's one I've really wanted. Just somehow found one at a good price at a pawn shop of all places, and really happy to get this in my collection. Next, I'll show you some games I got for the Sega Genesis. First one of these is cart only. I tend not to buy cart only games, but this one was such a really good deal, I couldn't pass it up. Really like the artwork on this game, so I always was curious what it's about, and that is Onslaught. Don't really know much about it. This is high on my list to try out this month, but yeah, let me know if this is any good if you played it. Next one I got is a paper box reissue, and the reason I picked it up is because I didn't even know this came in a paper box reissue, and that is Tin Head. I would say the hard box version of this is much more common. Again, I'd never seen this before. It looks like a Sonic clone from the pictures on the back. It actually looks okay, but again, I haven't tried it yet, so hopefully this is pretty decent, but didn't pay a whole lot for this one either. And the last thing I got for the Genesis is one of the original early black box games that Sega put out themselves, which I always like adding those to my collection, and this is Rambo 3. I do have Rambo 3 on the Master System, but I think that one is a light gun game, so I'm not really sure what the difference is with this one, but definitely looking forward to trying this too. So I got a few games for the Sega CD as well this month. All three of these were pretty good finds. First one of these is a variant, which I already had the original version of, or actually the second press version that's much more common. This is the paper box version of Rise of the Dragon, which is kind of like a cyberpunk thriller, point-and-click type of game. And I've owned the other version, the jewel case version, for a really long time, but this version I hardly ever see in stores, so I couldn't take a chance and pass it up again. This, for some reason, doesn't seem to go for a lot more than the other version, but if you look on eBay, you'll see like one version of these for every 15 of the other. So I see this in the future as possibly having a spike. Next one I got is another paper box variant, and this is the early version of this game, and that is the classic Night Trap. And I use classic a little bit loosely, but if not classic, at least very controversial. And this game, as you can see, has no rating on it, which this was the one that had a variant again that had a sticker added on for a rating, and then finally just a full reissue of the game in a different casing with the full ESRB, or the early version of it. So very interesting if you've been following Gaming Historian. I know he just did a video on the ESRB, and this game was very relevant to prompting some of that discussion and creation of that organization. So very cool to add that. I also thought it was interesting that some of these had the original price stickers from Babbage's or Software Etc. or something on it, so didn't really feel like peeling those off. I thought that was a cool piece of history. The last thing I got for the Sega CD, this is a completion of a subset for me, and that is one of the arcade Laserdisc games of light gun games produced by American Laser Games. Couldn't remember the name of the company. These are incredibly cheesy. This is probably the best of them as far as cheese factor goes. My friend actually has the Laserdisc arcade version, and we just popped it in a Laserdisc player and watched all the videos, including like the good version and the fail version of every shot you take in the game. It was hilarious. I mean, I'm sure this won't live up as good because the video will be much more grainy, but very cool to add this to my collection. This is probably, of these American laser games, this is probably the hardest one to find, so very cool to get that. Next, I got a Saturn game, and you're saying, why would you get a Saturn game? You have a complete Saturn set. Well, that is true. However, this is a variant I did not own. So this is the Nights into Dreams box version that comes with the Sega 3D control pad. And I own the long box version of Nights, which is actually rarer than this. But I just saw this, and I figured, you know what, I might as well have that just to kind of finish off my Saturn set for good. So very happy to have this, and now I guess I can call my Saturn set like a little bit more complete. So very cool to get that too. I did already have the 3D pad, so that's just a spare, but that is a really cool controller. I was happy to get that too. This was a complete random find at my local game store that I'm friends with the owner at, and really was surprised he had this. He just got it in the day I was there. This is for the TurboGrafx Super CD-ROM, Dragon Slayer, or Legend of Heroes Dragon Slayer. I know very little about this game other than it's one of the late-release Turbo Technologies published games. It actually comes with a map, even though it's just in a standard jewel case, and somehow they crammed that map and manual in here originally. It's kind of damaged just from being shoved in this jewel case, so I think it's kind of a shame that they did it that way. But overall, I would say this is a very rare game. I've never seen it in person before for the Turbo, and what kind of drew me to it also is that it was made by Falcom, which Falcom's made a ton of classic games. So looking to find some time to hopefully play this. I don't know if it's anything special. I read one review that just said it was like a Dragon Warrior ripoff, like early Dragon Warrior, so might not hold my attention too much, but we'll see. But very happy to have it in my TurboGrafx collection. So now's the moment you've probably been waiting for if you've been watching most of my videos lately. You know that I've been collecting super heavy on PS1. So I've got a ton of PS1's games to show you, just like I have the last few months. Hopefully you enjoy that, and if not, you might want to fast forward because it's going to take a while. So the first stack I'm going to show you is the big thing I've been chasing lately, and that is, if you haven't been watching my videos, the Black Label jewel case variants of the big box games. I've made a list. I'm trying to get all of them. A lot of these are just whatever. They're junk titles, but just stuff I need for that subset. So I really like the Black Label jewel case versions because they don't have all those variations in the big boxes where like some are good quality, some are crap quality, and they just take up a lot less room, and I don't know, I just think they're kind of cool. So with that said, let's go ahead and go through those first. These are all just variants. So the first one of these is Theme Park. I've never been a fan of the series, but gotta have it. Next is Fade to Black. Don't really know much about this one at all. Then we have Thunderstrike 2. Again, not really my bag. We have Triple Play 97. This comes in one of those double cases because it has a big manual. This one I do want to try out. This is Geom Cube, and one thing I think is interesting about this is it was one of the very last games published by American Technos. Obviously not like a Kunio-kun game or anything like that, but kind of interesting regardless. So I do like puzzle games. I don't know, maybe this one's pretty good. Next one I'm not going to care about at all is Agile Warrior F111X. Yeah. Then we have another crap game, Top Gun Fire at Will. And going even further down the rabbit hole, World Cup Golf Professional Edition. This one I actually might play. This is International Track and Field. I'm sure it's just one of those like Konami button masher track and field games, so those can be good. Then I got Gunship. Again, who cares? And finally, the most interesting of all of those. This one is actually really difficult to find, the jewel case Black Label version. The Greatest Hits version is common, but this one is not. And that is the original Rayman. This one I was very happy to get. Found it in a store who just priced it like it was the regular or Greatest Hits version, and definitely didn't pay the inflated price on eBay that this one goes for. So very happy to get this one, and it's a pretty cool game. Alright, so now I'll show you some PlayStation games that are not part of that subset. These are just games that I wanted to get for my collection. So first one of these is one that I see the Greatest Hits version of like all the time, but don't really see the original pressing, and I like Jaleco games, and this is Tetris Plus. I have this on the Saturn, but I was curious how the PS1 version stacks up, and whoever at Jaleco signed on for this game was brilliant, because this is probably one of their best-selling games ever, just because it's a Tetris game, so I thought that was kind of interesting. This one is another in that theme series I don't care about, but this is Theme Hospital. This one I like never ever see and somehow found really cheap in Chicago, so very happy to grab that just due to rarity. Then I figured since I got Track and Field, I might as well get the other one. So this is International Track and Field 2000. This is the sequel. Again, probably just more button mashing Konami goodness. This next one is a racer I was curious about. I don't really know much about it. This is Circuit Breakers. Then we have an infamous game for the PS1. I've always wanted to have this. When I was a kid, I actually owned some of the early games in this series on the Super Nintendo, and that is Bubsy 3D. You know, it's interesting. I saw a video from Jason at Game Rave that kind of was like, you know, this game really isn't that bad. It just got bagged on by the media at the time. It's certainly not good, but he was saying like it had some redeeming qualities, considering it was a pretty early release for the system. And, you know, like, the magazine gave it a gold X rating, so whatever that's worth. This next one is part of a subset I'm collecting, and this was very, very difficult for me to track down. This is part of the Fighter's Edge subset, and it's the repress of Marvel Superheroes. I own this game, the original Black Label version, and I also own the Saturn version, which is better, but really like to get these Fighter's Edge ones, and I think I'm down to 3 more of these I need. So probably be looking for a video from me in the future talking about that collection. So nice to have that. Another one I picked up because it was cheap, but was always curious about it, is Shipwreckers. No clue, haven't played it yet. This game I grabbed because I'd never seen it before, so I figured it had to be a little difficult to find. That is Virtual Pool 3. I see the original Virtual Pool all the time, and I've never seen a part 2, so I looked it up, and apparently there isn't a part 2 on PS1. I guess it was like on some other system only, so tricky, those guys. Next one is a racing game that I very rarely see, and I do like rally racing games. This is Mobile One Rally Championship. Very curious how this is. I'll probably play this soon. Next one is actually a really big one off my PS1 list. I should have owned this game a long time ago. I don't really know why I held off so long. It keeps going up in price, so I had to pay a pretty good price to get it, but I'm just happy to have it now, and that is the original Tomba. I still need the sequel to this, but this one, the artwork is like a million times better than that one, so really happy to have this in the collection. Then we have another one that was a real big thorn in my side. This one is easy to find, but very hard to find complete, and that is Contra Legacy of War. To have this complete, you need not only the manual, but also the 3D glasses that were originally included, and this one actually had all that stuff, so I was very happy to get that. Then we have one of the many Wipeout clones that came out on the PS1. This is Killer Loop. I was talking to Crack Lotus about this game, and he pointed out that it's a one-player game, and I was like, oh, that kind of like killed my enthusiasm for it right there, because if you're going to do Wipeout, it's got to be 2-player. Next is another game I should have just owned a long time ago, but I never did, and that is Tekken 2. So now I have that series completed. And finally, another game that I should have owned a long time ago. Actually, I was going to buy this game when it came out new, and instead, me and a guy I was in college with at the time decided to rent it for a weekend, and basically we beat it in like 8 hours, so we never ended up buying it. And that is the original Parasite Eve. So while it is a very short game, I highly enjoyed this game. And this is another one that's tough to find complete because it comes with a demo disc with some like Squaresoft demos on it. So very happy to get that complete as well because it's been a challenge for me. In very nice shape. Some collector traded those in, I think. Alright, so that is all the PS1 stuff I got this month. And believe it or not, I didn't get any other like PS2 or PS3 games this month. So we're going to move on to Super Nintendo games. And first one of these is Sequest DSV. I'm sure this game is crap. I just don't see it very often. And I remember the really horrible TV series that this was based on from the 90s, and figured I had to take a look. I don't know. I'm sure it's a train wreck of a game. Another game that had a TV series in the 90s is The Tick. I don't see this game very often, and when I do, it's always overpriced. Somehow I found it for like a couple bucks, so just decided to grab it. And finally, for Super Nintendo, I have like, I don't know, almost half the Super Nintendo library, and you're gonna be very surprised I do not own this game until now. So that is Super Punch-Out. I don't know why. I've never picked this game up. It's just one of those things like I just always kept holding out for a better price, and somehow I finally got a decent price this month, so, or at least enough that I decided to go for it. But honestly, I am looking forward to playing that because I've played the crap out of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I think most people have. I've never played this game before, so looking forward to checking that out with fresh eyes. Next we'll move on to Nintendo Portable Systems. I got one game for the original Game Boy this month. but man, it was a big one off my list. This game has been so difficult for me to find. Honestly, yes, I could have bought it on eBay, but it was one of those games I just really wanted to find in person, and that is a beautiful copy of Mega Man 5. So now I have all of the Mega Man games on the Game Boy Complete, or not complete, but all the games on the Mega Man series on the Game Boy. So all 5 of them. But this one, I mean, I understand why it goes for a lot. It just is not easy to find, and it's one of those things like everybody wants it, so just drives the price up. It's one of those things, but very happy to get that. That was a Chicago find. So then I got one game for the Nintendo DS, and if you've already seen Crack Lotus's newest video, he already talked about this game. I found it just by trolling through the Natsume website late at night one night and looking at like all their archive releases, and somehow I saw this on there and I was like, I had no idea this game existed. So that is Freedom Wings for the DS. Look at that beautiful, charming Natsume artwork on the cover. Who wouldn't want to play this game? So that's basically my reaction. I saw the cover art on their website, and I was like, okay, time to track it down. Fortunately, very, very cheap on eBay, and I don't know. Yeah, definitely looking forward to trying it out. It's an action RPG about planes, so, you know, probably going to be a future classic. I don't know. And Natsume always has those sleepers, so looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Next, I'll show you some games I got for the Nintendo Wii. This is a game that Crack talked about in a video like 6 months ago. I've never seen this game in person until this weekend, and that is Gremlins Gizmo. I always liked the Gremlins like movie franchise, but as far as games, not really a big fan. And this one just looks like shovelware, basically, on the pictures on the back, but happy to get it, because this game's very, very difficult to find for some reason. Next one is one I bought because I was surprised by the publisher, so that is MotoGP, but I noticed it was a Capcom game, which struck me as odd, so I decided to grab it. And then finally for the Wii, this one is, I don't even know. I just bought it because it seems to be a little difficult to find. Don't make fun of me too much. This is Jerry Rice and Nidus's Dog Football. Can't imagine why this game didn't sell well, but yeah, there you go. You never know how deep the shovelware is going to go on the Wii. It just keeps surprising you. Then I got one game for the original Xbox. This game has been a complete bear for me to find as well. I don't know why. It's not really worth a ton, but that is Bloody Roar Extreme. My understanding is this is a enhanced version of Bloody Roar 3 on the PS2. Probably just, you know, perked up graphics, maybe an extra character or two. I really like this series of games. I think it's a shame that Hudson Soft is dead, so we probably won't see any more of these, but they're pretty good stuff. I actually bought my first ever PS4 game this month. And you're saying, oh, I don't remember you telling me you got a PS4. Well, that's because I didn't. But I'm buying this because I think it'll be difficult to find when I do get a PS4, which probably will be pretty soon. And I really like this series. So that is Assault Suit Lanos for the PS4. And I can make the joke about the poster not being in the case, but ultimately I'm just happy to have it. So very, very happy to get this game, and I really like this series. If you haven't, please check out Assault Suit Lanos 2 on the Saturn. Really, really fun title. So, Japanese Saturn, I should say. So that's it for the games I got this month. Let me show you a couple like accessories and manuals and stuff like that I got. First thing I'm really looking forward to trying out, this was not cheap, but I think it'll be worth it, and that is the Power Base Mini FM. And what this thing lets you do is play Sega Master System games on your Sega Genesis. So you're saying, well, Sega already made an accessory like that called the Power Base Converter. Yes, they did. But I already have that. But this is better for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's sleek, just like a Genesis cartridge. It's not that big, bulky thing that overhangs if you use it in anything other than a Genesis 1. But this one also has another big feature that is really cool, and that is FM Sound. And FM Sound was a Japanese-only plug-in accessory for their version of the Sega Master System. And for select games that featured that compatibility, you could really hear a massive improvement in their sound quality. So, like, extra instruments, extra bass, just very, very good quality sound. Actually, I would say with that piece, they sound better than Genesis games. So, anyways, this thing has been rigged up to not only play Master System games, but it also unlocks the FM sound for those games that support it. And there is a list of those you can look up. Really, really pumped to get this. I've heard my friend who actually has an FM sound modded Master System, and it's really like a night or day difference. We were playing Double Dragon, which sounds fantastic with this. So, again, I think I'm very happy to get this. I'm just looking forward to trying it out and playing some of my Master System games with better audio quality. Next, I'll show you some loose manuals I got this month. So, first one of these is North and South for the NES. Always liked this game, just obviously never had a manual for it. Next is Chavez 2. This is a very rare boxing game for the Super Nintendo, and it was primarily released in Hispanic markets, so the manual is like full of Spanish. So, kind of an interesting curiosity for the system. I got one manual for a original Game Boy game, and that is the original R-Type by Irem. Nice artwork on it. And then I got two manuals for the Sega Game Gear, and both of these I'm pretty excited to get. First one of these is for Vampire Master of Darkness. This is a fantastic Castlevania clone, and I just found out there's a Euro Master System version of this, which I would love to own. And then finally, this is a very rare game on the Game Gear, and I was really surprised to find this manual, and that is Captain America and the Avengers, which I own the arcade version, and I think every home port of this game now, so very happy to get that too. Alright, so that is all the games and stuff I got this month. I have one other item I would like to show you guys. There was a band that came to my city of St. Louis a couple weeks ago named Bit Brigade. I'm probably just super late to the cool wagon on them, but essentially their shtick is they play NES soundtracks in full live. So like they only play one game per set. And their other gimmick with that is they have a guy in the band who sits there and super plays the game while the band plays. The band changes the song based on what room of the game he's in, which is pretty incredible when you think of how technical that has to be able to just change on a second. So, that being said, when I saw them, they were featuring the game Metroid that night. I've never been a huge Metroid fan, but man, like, that was super high quality math rock they were playing, and the guy that was the wizard playing the Nintendo was truly amazing. Like, he pulled off some stuff I had no idea it was in that game. So anyways, they were selling their merchandise, and I did not buy their Metroid soundtrack, but I bought their Ninja Gaiden soundtrack based on the quality of what I saw. So if I ever get a chance, I know they play a bunch of video game conventions, I would love to see them play this game and really listen to this, you know, live. So it doesn't work great as a soundtrack because they're doing that whole, like, changing the song based on the room type of thing as you listen to this. But still very cool to have it, and it's good quality. So anyway, that does it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. And looking forward to making some other content for you guys, hopefully soon as I get some free time. So please take a moment, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Thanks.